Good evening, Shortcuts. This is video 2 for Wednesday's list. And it features, right off the bat, 2, if not the 2, biggest selling albums of all time. And some Japanese presses of these recordings that I think have to be worthy of your attention. After that, we got pop, we got some prog, we got some live rock, we got all sorts. A box set. Alrighty, I'm calling it. We have Thriller, the Japanese master sound audiophile pressing. And my personal favorite pressing of Dark Side of the Moon of all time. And I include in that the UK first, the 30th anniversary, the Japanese first, the Aussie quad, what else? Well, that's enough to be getting on. Oh, and the MoFi. Yeah. All of them pale, in my view, in comparison to the Japanese third pressing. Of course, that iconic sleeve. This pressing is really good, and it includes one of my favorite little touches, the book that came with the Japanese pressing, lyrics and stories, really cool photographs. But most importantly, absolutely beautiful vinyl. Now, it's the EMS 80324. Look it up. Read the blogs. Read the blogosphere. You'll see it's not just me who thinks that this this pressing is the nuts. It's that good. And I'm very, very, very pleased to have a copy. I've been trying to find one for a while that didn't cost an arm and a leg. Now, you don't need the Obi. You don't need the posters. This one didn't come with a postcard, but you don't need that anyway. You don't need anything. You just need that sleeve and that vinyl. And that's not far off our old heaven, as far as I'm concerned. Now, the master sound pressing of Thriller has its fans who think that it's extraordinary, and it has some others who have a critique that say that the equalization's a little bit off. So you can see there's the record that's inside. It's kind of like a box. And then there's a bunch of other things on the inside as well. I'm not going to pull it out. It's like a box set, very sturdy, a little bit worn, you can see there. The vinyl itself plays brilliantly, especially side 2. Beat it, Billie Jean. Billie Jean sounds utterly incredible. In my system, what I having played it now A beat against my original pressing, is my view is that it's cut a little bit quieter. You can see the master sound. If I turn it right this way, master sound. So I'd turn up a little bit. When I turn it up, it's more spacious. The instrumental detail is fully present and correct, and I think better than the Japanese first press, which is my go-to. I have never heard a US first press, but I've heard an Aussie first press. I just think there's someone out there who will love this more than me. And I mean, it's great. I don't know what else to say. How do you follow? You can't follow Dark Side of the Moon and Thriller. So I figure I'm just going to go off on a tangent. So here we have it. John Fogerty, his brother, and others in Creedence Clearwater Revival, right? Great band. They could follow Michael Jackson and Dark Side of the Moon. Not really. I'm not going to do Creedence. I'm going to go the Gollywogs. The Gollywogs were, as it says here, pre-Creedence. The band that was Creedence before they became Creedence. And they released a series of singles in the late 60s where you can hear them trying to find that Creedence sound. They are striving for it, and they kind of get it on a few tracks. Other tracks sound a bit more like the Beach Boys, a bit more like the Zombies. You can hear the Beatles' influence, although not quite as stark as others. It's super, super rare. Really incredibly hard to find, including with the OB. But I think it's of interest, and I think it's really rather good, and sounds tremendous. So there you go. We've got Chuck Berry's Tokyo Session, 1981. Only recorded in... probably recorded in Tokyo, but only released in Japan. And that is a crying shame, because this is a balls out Chuck Berry rock and roll record. If you're a Chuck Berry fan, you're going to love that OB and that sleeve. It's fun. But this record's kind of the opposite of fun, but has its place. So Soft Machine, the UK prog collective, made a series of records in the late 60s into the 70s with rather monotonous naming convention: first, second, third, fourth. This is fourth. This still features the mighty Robert Wyatt on drums. Legend that he is, before he went off to start a successful solo career and become one of the iconic British songwriters. But this record is instrumental. It's melodic, playful. If you like your prog, you're gonna love Soft Machine's fourth. It often creeps onto the list of, if you're seeing, the top 50 prog records of all time, and if it's a list that leans more toward the Gongs and kind of Canterbury scene of this world, then that record and the third record, Soft Machine third and Soft Machine fourth, are the cream that come to the top. If you've got a good system and you really like to hear expert musicians kind of really challenge themselves, it's pretty great. This is the polar opposite. This record, I'm going to say, it's between the Undertones debut album and this to be the greatest two records to come out of my home country, Northern Ireland. This is The Angry Young Men, the first record by them. And right there is Van Morrison. This record is phenomenally hard to find. But like a bus, two of them came along at once. And so I have one of them on my shelf, actually three. One of them is on a friend of mine's in Perth's shelf. And then I found this one. Now, this isn't original, it's a repress on the London label, but it sounds magnificent. It is like a raw Rolling Stones in their early R&B phase. Van Morrison's songwriting is already on point, but the band are super tight, and I love the kind of almost psychedelic guitar play. I utterly love this record. So whoever buys this, I'd love you to tell me what you think of it. All right, I'm diving off into a weird tangent before we get to some truly classic rock. This is Fun in Space by Roger Taylor. This is a promo copy. You can see sample on the top of his debut album. It was recorded in between Queen recording The Game and Flash Gordon. And, you know, this is going to probably seem a controversial call. I think it's better than either of those two records. And what's truly something is Roger Taylor wrote all the songs, sang, and his voice is kind of gruffy. He's no Freddie Mercury, but he can hold a tune. Drums, obviously. Plays bass, plays guitar, plays rhythm and lead, and the keyboards. And it's kind of bonkers and great. And he even put his face on the label. Yeah. It's an anomaly and a weird one, and I thought you all might like it. Now here we go. This is where we start to build up a classic record head of steam. What about this? Japanese Obi goodness from the Beatles. Often regarded as two of the greatest pressings of this record. This is the 1973 pressing, which gets rave reviews. I think this is 76. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to go back and double check. I'll make sure on the list on Wednesday that I have it all detailed out. But there you go. If you love the Beatles, Japanese Beatles, hard cardboard Obi brilliance. And here they come. Communique, Dire Straits' second record, has at the time was seen a little bit like their debut record Light, but has certainly developed its own head of steam over the years and showcases that finger-picking Mark Knopfler style to tremendous effect. How about this? A little mini Duran Duran bundle. Now, I've had Arena a few times. I've found Arena pretty easy to find, and I've had incredible feedback on this record, so I'm putting another one out there. But this one is super hard to find. Notorious by Duran Duran. So there you have it. Arena and Notorious. A little Duran Duran Japanese first pressing. That little double, and yeah, fabulous stuff. Now, off on another tangent, this is a modern record of a classic rock band, par excellence. This is the recent 4LP, heavy as anything, box set of the Eagles live from the Forum 2023. Or is it 2023? No, 2018. Getting my Roman numerals correct. 26 classic tracks, 2 hours of music. Take It Easy, One of These Nights, Take It to the Limit, Tequila Sunrise, all the way to the fourth record, which is Life in the Fast Lane, Hotel California, Rocky Mountain Way, Desperado, and The Long Run. There's how to do an encore. Super expensive in the shops. Not expensive at all. Me, I got it cheap. I'm selling it for the price I got it just because. All right. In keeping with our little bundle twofer on classic Blondie, 8 to the Beat, and Auto American, both on the Chrysalis label, Japanese first presses, of course. You know, there's some classic pop to come, and then I'm going to finish with more classic pop, albeit with a reggae tinge. Look at this. Rufus featuring Chaka Khan. Now, sometimes the Japanese did a great job of this, where the obi kind of melds into the record. So can you see the obi includes that strip of this sleeve of those famous lips and tongue? Yeah, on ABC Records. Seriously funky pop masterpiece. Talking about pop masterpieces, I had to put this in on the day after Eurovision. One of the greatest hits albums. Hard Cardboard Gatefold of ABBA's Greatest Hits 2. Gimme, 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 knowing me, knowing you. Take a chance on me. Money, 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 rock me. Dancing Queen, Does Your Mother Know? Chiquita, I Wonder, The Name of the Game, and Thank You for the Music. Just a few minor hits in there. All including the magazine and the little poster. And of course, the record. It's great, isn't it? With Obi too. I love it. And then finally, the amount of feedback I get about the quality of the Japanese pressings of this band. I think this band it must be in the top 5 most beloved bands in the history of Australian rock music. Honestly, the Police, you guys love them, and you love these pressings. So this is Zenyatta Mandata, which I think is their second, and this is Synchronicity, which I think is their fourth, maybe their fifth. All Japanese first presses. They're not my favourite band, but they're beloved. And yeah, the feedback on those records is great. So I grab them when I see them, because you guys love them. The Police, Duran Duran, Blondie, Michael Jackson, Dark Side of the Moon, Chuck Berry, the Eagles. There's a lot of boxes being ticked there. Hopefully you saw something you liked. If not, and you thought this list was rubbish, let me know. But yeah, trying to walk that line between the odd little thing out there, like the Roger Taylor solo record, and the Police. I love it. Thank you for watching, as always. Watch out for the list. Looking forward to hearing from you all. Keep spinning that black gold. And please send my little list out to your vinyl-loving friends so we can keep this club alive. Because I really like digging up these records for you all. But if no one buys them, I'm not going to do it. So, with that, looking forward to hearing from you, and thanks again.